All right, welcome to the Eric J. the Great podcast show. Welcome. Got two of my aunties on the show today, Aunt Pam and Aunt Erica. And start off by playing my song. Shout out to my boy Clay Williams. I was in the military with that gave me this song to use as my podcast theme song.
Yeah, and so I put it on because I've never had I've been counting up that money in the vision. It's getting close, yeah, I see it manifesting. Late night staying up in the vision. I can learn something, open up and listen. I've been counting up that money in the vision. It's getting close, yeah, I see it manifesting. Long night staying up in the vision. I can learn something, open up and listen. I can learn something, open up and listen. Matter of time before my neck and wrist is glistening. Just gotta stay loyal, humble, and independent. Stay suspended, down for the attendance. Guarantee you won't never catch me stunning something that's rented. I'ma stay down and come up till I get the keys to that Bentley. Must have heard a little nigga, but I'm telling you I ain't friendly. Watching out for the snakes, man, cause I know they tryna get me. Feel like I'm on top, I ain't never gonna stop. Listening and hating on me, I read.
All right. So welcome to the show again. Got a good topic today. We're gonna talk about the new abortion law. And, also, we're gonna talk about we get into your books towards the end, my Pam.
Okay.
All right, so first off, y'all two can go first, whichever one that y'all want to go first. But just I think it's more appropriate for women to speak about this topic than getting a bunch of dudes on here. So, like, what is y'all opinion on that new law as far as abortions for certain states picking it up? I know in Kentucky originally picked it up, but today a judge has just overruled the initial picking up, so Kentucky can get abortions right now temporarily. They just did that. What's y'all opinion on the whole situation?
I'll let you go first, Pam, since you're the oldest.
Nate, go ahead.
No, you can go first since you're the oldest.
Oh, how about respect is due? How about that? On this
Right.
abortion thing, I think that it is totally wrong, totally disrespectful to women. I just can't believe that my president is allowing anything like that to take place. I just don't understand. I don't understand, and I don't think it's right, and I'll never be okay with it. And that's pretty much where I stand on that.
Well, I just feel like I don't think it was a sad day for America or anything like that. I feel like, and these are all personal opinions, not saying that my opinion is valued or it's right or whatever, but I'm sure God in heaven is smiling down about the opinion because, you know, it's taking life, but also it's not a bad thing because I feel like it's going to help, you know, parents. I do. I think that adoption, not that you have like abortions are not birth control or a form of birth control. But I do believe that, you know, women especially, they do have a chance to conceive again. You know, I think abortions do, you know, harm your life. It can make you barren. It's so many, you know, medical things that abortions and getting them done under the table or even just medically done the correct way that it can harm our bodies. So you can adopt, you know what I'm saying? You can put your child up for adoption. You know, murder is not, you know, the first option. Now I understand people do get raped and things like that. But at the same time, if you're a believer, especially of Jesus, you know, it's the same guy. He's going to heal you. you know, from your rejection, from things that happen, whatever, but at least this child or this life gets to live.
Okay,
And I want to say this, my sister Pam, because her mom didn't take the choice of aborting, she was a blessing to my mother's life. And she, you know, so she's an adopted child, and she made somebody's life happy.
I would agree with that, Nay. I think I would agree with that. Yes, I was adopted, and yes, I want to say or hope that I was a blessing for the family. But now it's a different game because my viewpoint is based on that, meaning that when these mothers have these children that they can't get rid of now or abort, they're gonna wind up being adopted like me. And they're
Right.
gonna wind up going through years just like me of finding their family and listening to the stories of what could have happened or what may happen or the fact a just thing by letting them be adopted, you know, and I think that's a little unfair. I mean, if I was raped by someone, I can't honestly say that I would want that child. And that's just being honest. I couldn't say that, perfectly honest about it. And because of the law, I would have no choice but to adopt right now, to put that child for adoption, to at least give them a chance in life. But I think the option of that should be solely on the parents, especially the woman that's carrying the child. So that's how I feel about that.
Right.
Coming from adopted view. I thank God for my adopted family. I love all of my adopted family. But now, after 59 years, now I have another family that I have to deal with. And I think that's a little unfair. I really do.
Well, can I just say this, maybe in defense of your biological mom? You know, I personally commend her no matter what her reasons were, whether she was in poverty, whether you know, opportunities were lacking for her. She still chose to make a decision for you, for your life, to say, I want this child to come forth. I'm not going to abort. And even if this child found me later on in life, I got to accept accountability.
I mean, it's okay. I mean, and I'm telling you, I'm gonna tell you how I'm looking at this. There are two sides to this story. One side could say the stories that I hear within my family, that she raised everybody's other child but me.
Yes.
And one side could say that actually she blessed me by giving me the opportunity to have life, a future, and a chance at life with another family.
Correct.
So I choose to take the she blessed me side.
Right.
Other than, you know, the other side of the coin, which in some cases could probably be true. It could probably be true, but knowing God the way I do and within my heart, I have to see it as being a blessing. I have to. It's no doubt about that. So the only thing I'm saying is that, you know, with this abortion law, it's not fair, but there are going to be several young women, young mothers who will be in a position as my mother very soon with making the decision how they want to move with this child.
Right. And it's not the end of the story, because it is other states, once again, that, you know, that they can, you know, go to. But, you know, the issue, I'm like freaked out by abortion, because even if you don't go to a quote unquote medical doctor, it's a lot of underground procedures that's being done, especially in the Black community, where these wombs cannot produce anymore. So what happens if you 15, 16 when you get these procedures, but when you're 25 or 30 years old, want to have a child or be married, you know, and your womb just won't allow that?
You know what's going to happen in that situation? That child is going to be like me. They're going to adopt. They have no choice. They're going to adopt. And then they're going to be going through the process that I'm going through right now with meeting the new family and accepting the new family and still being a part of the adopted family that you were raised with. And
Correct.
it in a situation where if I was able to have children and I did, I would have to follow the same process as my mother,
Correct.
which is totally unfair. It's unfair. It should be my option whether or not I want to keep this child or whether I want to make the move to put my child up for adoption. I just think that I love Biden. I voted for him, but at this present time, I just feel that he's not making the best decisions for the country. I don't. With this adoption, ridiculous right here. There are some states that banned adoptions. And I think that's unfair that you're going to take the woman's rights who has to carry the child for 9 months to make a decision to them or for them how they need to move. That's ridiculous to me. It's just
But
totally
once again, it's not every, it's not every state that they're
not
doing
every,
this.
but why?
And it's not just Biden alone.
Right, but why do you have the right to decide how God wants you to move? How do you have the right to decide that? You don't.
Well, once
And
again, we go ahead, nephew.
yeah, because one point I wanted to get at, and then I'll let y'all jump back into it, but was all this is what Pam is saying as far as them having the right to what gives them the right to do that. It goes to the origin of our country, the U.S. Constitution. Why do you think every couple years or randomly every couple months they throw out something like this? It's because if you really read and dissect the U.S. Constitution, they base everything off this document. And this document gives them gray areas to where they could be like, well, we could just throw this out and we got this supporting document to uphold whatever we want to do as far as like, the House and the and Congress and things like that.
And the
So
representatives, right?
and this thing came out in like what this I don't know the exact year. I think it was like the 17 or 1800s or something that the Constitution came out. But I'm like, for one, like that document has to be ratified because how it doesn't even fit today's time. So how is that document haven't been edited or anything? You know what I'm saying? Like it's just crazy because you going off a document that that was based right before slavery.
So let me ask you this, nephew. Let's go to Thomas Jefferson. Let's go to Thomas Jefferson, who has so many African-American siblings.
Come on now.
Family member. Let's get real with it. Thomas Jefferson is the president that had all the African-American siblings, brothers, sisters, children, all of that. So if this document was in place, then why did not the president of the United States use this document against his own people to purify his family? How about that?
Right.
I'm just asking the question.
Well, I think where what you're saying is that stems from, and a lot of people don't want to address that, but it stems from that timeline of slavery. Like, but when everybody came through, when they brought us over here, but for the most part, all the races was kind of pure. It was like real few mixed people. But then once you brought our women and stuff over here, the slave owners was raping them and having mixed babies and things like that. And then that just rectified to everybody. Like just the slave owners was on a low level. So people on the high level was doing these type of things as far as like, senators and like things like that.
And that will go back to my point. If it was a law or a document that was in place then, why now?
Because I feel like they already know that even abortions and rape, everything, it targets our community the most.
Mm-hmm.
All of this stuff targets our community the most, whether it's teenage pregnancies, high school dropouts, I mean, drugs, violence, everything that's bad targets our community the most, including everything down to our bodies.
Right.
You know, nothing is fair when it comes to us as a race or even as a people. So once again, even with a woman having the rights to abort a baby or whatever, the African American community, we've gotten so far. We're so in poverty. Your teenage child get pregnant, the first thing they do, they don't want to come home and tell you that they're pregnant. They're going to a doctor.
This is true.
They're afraid, you know what I'm saying? Because the mom is working so many jobs or whatever, you know, even incest is running, it goes through our family. You can't tell that you've been raped by your cousin.
This is true.
I'm just saying, our community it's been affected. We've been bullied by a system, by whatever you want to call it, laws, you know, and they pull out these documents when it's targeted against us.
And this is true. And so now you're going to put me in a situation where if I go get raped, I have to have a child. So now you're going to take the suicide level perhaps high now, because
Possibly.
I'm going to be challenged by looking at this child, the child of someone that raped me. And so it's going to put me in a category where my mental stability is going to be messed up behind this. Because I got to see every day. Right?
Or your family might have to step up like they did when we were growing up.
That's right. And adopt. Exactly. Or just be that family that's that understands the situation and just takes a hand. But in these day and ages, that's pretty much not going to happen. We might as well be real on that. That's not going to happen.
But it can. That we were built on a foundation of where it can go
we
back to how.
But if your child, I don't want to see the rapist either.
Correct.
Okay, let's just say that.
Yes.
I don't want to see the rapist either. So my family's not going to want to see the rapist. So you know where they're going? They're going to the adoption places to adopt that child. That's what's going to.
And to piggyback on both of y'all points, like what Aunt Erica was saying, that stems from targeting our community, stems from mental health, because
right,
as far as our community, as far as our culture has been through the most out of any culture as far as historically, and we've been trained to just take all these L's as a race and then just to keep moving. Nobody, like, growing up, like, like if you go tell, and we're not like saying that the parents or anything was wrong, but it's just the way everybody was raised. Like if you tell somebody, oh, I got raped, or feeling depressed, they gonna get mad and be like, ain't nothing wrong with you, or you know what I'm saying?
Yes, suck
like,
it up.
Okay,
like, and you better not go telling our business.
Right,
and it's like, let me finish real quick. I'm about to finish up. So with the mental health thing, what you were saying as far as, the people having these babies, about rapists and things like that, like, people not gonna want to come home and tell their parents, because depending on what type of parent they have, if they not like a real understanding parent, or they feel comfortable talking with their parents about real deep stuff, then they can send them into a depression, and then they would just be feeling like, oh, I failed in life type of thing.
Right.
But can I say this? When my older sister got pregnant, my mom was not 100 with it, and she was over, 18. But we had a praying great grandmama that took her on in. You see what I'm saying? So we don't have to, what the auntie won't do, or the cousin, but you might just got a big mama. You just might have a nanny. You might have somebody that's going to step up to the plate for their family to say, you know what, these babies not going into the foster care system. We don't even got to go to a foster. we can bring them here. Just bring them on here, and
Correct.
we'll raise them as cousin, sister, brother, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how we grew up.
That's how we grew up. And that's exactly what happened with me. That's exactly what happened with me. And because I went against my race, I went against,
Correct.
made the obstacle of raising my daughter even harder, or my daughter being accepted in my family even harder. From the young generation, it was good. But from the older generations, it was a demonic move.
Correct.
A demonic move altogether.
And once again, this is deep South, Birmingham, Alabama, you know, in the early 80s.
Right.
You know, and
Right.
you got to think, you know, and I'm not saying a prominent Black family, but I'm gonna say a prominent church Black family where, you know, Pam was not married.
Right.
So then you got a whole system once again. And that's another thing, you know, even in a household, where is the church? Where is the people, the praying mamas and, you know, the laying hands? Like, because we got issues in the community. You know, pregnancy is going to happen. High school dropouts are going to happen. These things are going to happen.
And one thing.
Go ahead, Eric.
Oh, one thing that y'all missing about this, I thought one of y'all would have said it by now. Like when she said about the targeting community. But one thing y'all miss about this, like, men in the African American community has always been targeted as far as us getting locked up for whatever, you know what I'm saying? Whether it's a major thing or just minimum things that somebody else probably wouldn't get pulled over for.
Correct.
And the one thing that I want to point out with this is that what people not realizing, and I was thinking hard about this, they're really trying to eliminate our race systematically.
Yes.
And they're coming at it from three angles, whether, well, at first they wasn't even targeting women and men been on attack for a while, but now you have the LGBTQ eliminating the man out of the household, because if you take away their ability to reproduce, you can kill a race. Now you got the abortion law to where, if they women go against us and say, they still gonna get an abortion, then we're gonna lock them up. So now you got both sides of the sword getting locked up and being put in, you know, prisons basically like slavery. Like, you basically doing hard labor, working for 50 cents an hour, and you getting told what to do and working systematically under a schedule for how much time you got. So you got three angles that this is happening, as far as eliminating women from having rights, and then punishing them if they choose to do the right that they should have. Men getting out, as far as, you know, the police brutality, things like that. And then you got this the LGBTQ, as far as, you know, they pushing this on our kids with these cartoons and stuff at an early age when their mind's not
correct.
And now they thinking that that's the right thing to do. So now our future generations is getting affected by, you know, eliminating the man out of the household, which is also eliminating the man out of the household dates back to welfare and things like that, and food stamps and things like that, because they didn't want a strong Black figure to be in the household. They always wanted single parents to raise kids on women anyway, because that keeps the wealth gap in check.
Well, I would like to
work a dead end job to keep those kids, you know, ain't nobody gonna be able to elevate.
And you're right. Right.
I would like to counter what you're saying in three angles of what you just said. First of all, the Black woman has been targeted from the day she was born, because the thing about slavery was that was targeted for the Black woman. Because remember, when you got raped, you was pinned with a baby.
Amen.
The baby was put in the fields, and depending on the color of the baby and the skin pigmentation and how it looked, it was going to be in the field or in the house. Okay, you got to see your master with this baby while his other wife, a white descendant, is living good. Okay, that's the first thing. Then the second thing, the woman has been targeted too, on the other hand, because when we were raped, sometimes our wounds could not support the amount of rape that was going through us and to us. So when we came out of slavery, a lot of women couldn't have babies. That's why a lot of adoption and stuff was going on within the families. Okay. Then another angle too is, it is 4 angles. I'm sorry. The third one is the fact that the Black woman has always been taught to close their mouth, not just by the white man. They put that system even on the Black man too, because the Black man wasn't standing up for us. Okay. Your hair couldn't be like this. It was a day your hair couldn't be natural like this. It needed to be pressed out. You needed to look a certain way. You had to be a certain size, okay? And then another thing too is when my kids was growing up, to be an at-home mom, I got scrutinized even by my Black community because, quote unquote, I needed a job. I couldn't be a stay-at-home mom like the white women in my neighborhood. Matter of fact, I didn't even belong in the neighborhood. And my kids was educated in an all-white school system. I was educated in a Black and white school system, you know, since I seen the both sides of things. So once again, in our African-American community, when our men wasn't getting locked up, they were making 6 figures on corporate jobs, doctors, lawyers, and they was marrying white women.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I grew up in an all-white school, so I agree. We always were shunned upon, looked down on. Single parent, Black female single parents, they had a rough life. They did, and that goes back to a rough life. Never accepted. We always were the ones that stayed in trouble. Always the ones getting suspended. Always the one that was at fault. We could say anything to anybody, Caucasian or white, however you want to see it.
Right.
And it didn't matter. It was still our fault.
Correct.
You correct. And then the school, you see, advantage that most of the time, it was only our Black mothers that were coming to school to take care of a situation with their children. That is correct.
Yep.
You are correct.
And my kids come from a 2-parent household. I would tell my husband, you got to come to the school with me because these white people going to look at me like I got all these 4 kids by myself. I'm not a baby mom. So come on, you need to come up. You got to step up.
That's right. You're right.
So also, you know, this is the first time as far as all this stuff going on, I think in our generation, as far as this era right here, that a lot of this stuff is going on, as you were saying, you know, as far as like Black men not taking up for women and things like that. This is the first generation that you could really say, and we don't really have no real leaders.
This is
right.
Like you had the previous era with Malcolm X and Dr. Martin Luther King and all things like that. But now it's like the average leader is a hip hop artist that's rapping about killing his own kind.
That is correct.
Right.
You are
right.
correct.
And they got 20 different baby mamas and all of that's cool. And I'm not against that, you know. And I'm gonna say this on, you know, even behalf of like even your dad, like having kids that wasn't in the household, didn't have to pay child support, but took care of all of his children. Like that's just commendable in the Black, you know, community too.
That in my eye is a strong Black man.
Exactly. Nothing kept him away. Even the moms, like the moms represented, because most moms would be like, oh, you ain't pay you know, your child support. They will hold child support over the men head. So they couldn't see their children. Like child support does not validate you to see your children. That helps the welfare of your children, but they need to still see their dads.
That's right. That's right. That's right. You're right.
So, but these are once again issues for our community because we have been targeted for so long. Abortion just one thing. Drugs is just one thing. Poverty is just one thing. You know, it's easy to say, oh, you know, it's your fault. But it's not our fault. It's been our white counterparts. Once again, even in leadership, Black people and white people can't even worship together in church. But yet, in the 1800s, they was going to a Black man just to even receive the gift of tongues. So I'm just saying, it's something's wrong. Like in the States, something's wrong in this country. Something's wrong with, you know, people that don't look like us. I
don't even know where it divided, Erica, because Crispus Attucks was on the boat with George Washington. Crispus Attucks is a Black man.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Thomas Jefferson has African-American kids. You know, So I don't know where the gap came between this color thing. It's senseless.
Well,
You
no,
know,
you know where the gap came from.
no, I really don't, nephew. I'm gonna be honest
I'm gonna
with
explain it to you. The
you.
gap
Explain.
came from the gap came from what you're saying right now. When those people was together, like they wasn't in an environment to where they can flex their power. Once slavery came upon and it became a big business to where they was getting all this free labor to make the generational wealth gap so wide to where if we don't get no restitution and then like that, we would never make up that gap from what they took from us from slavery as far as all the real estate and things they was able to get as far as back in that era. So when you have those type of people in positions of power like that, that's gonna create the gap because if you got all these people around you and they all thinking the same way, even if you wasn't thinking that way initially, you gonna eventually go along with them because majority rules.
But think about this though. To me, that just sound like what you saying. That sound like death. You know what I'm saying? Because like you done hijack all the real estate. Now I'm gonna build this whole culture. Now I'm white. Now don't look at me as a black woman. I'm a white woman. I'm gonna build this whole movement. I just stole y'all African American, everything that y'all create. I just took everything. I done redone it and I done branded it. Now it look white. So guess what? I'm gonna give my kids better school system. Matter of fact, I want your land. Pamela, I want your land. I want everything you own. I want your look. I want everything. I want your talents, your gifts. And when you're done doing everything, I'm gonna give you a couple of pieces of shekels.
This is true. Now, and then you go back in history, way back in history to all the African Americans that had been at the stoplight.
Come on, yes, peanut butter. Come on now.
Come on, George.
But hold on, fed white kids though.
Exactly.
Fed the white kids off of their breasts.
Right. You know what I mean? You got the invention of the straightening comb came from a black woman. The first chemicals came from Madam C.J. Walker. You know what I'm saying? All of this stuff that African Americans put on the game that all the white people get credit for. Because, because most of the schools will not teach Black history in their schools to let these people know exactly where this stuff came from.
Because once again, they still afraid of our power. Something's stopping them.
And that's the problem that we have. Now we got this female vice president in here. I love her. Don't get me wrong. I'm very proud of her because she's there. But she really don't have any, she doesn't have any power. You know what I mean? She's just there for the show. I'm cool with that. If that's how they're doing it, that's fine. Then we got Stacey Adams down here where I am in Georgia. Her Georgia blue for the first time. You know, for the first time and running for governor now. And her fellow African-American people are some of the people that's fighting against her. That is ridiculous to me. Makes no sense.
It's a setup. That's what they do. They always turn us against each other. It's like they dangle. I don't know if they dangle at watermelon or fried chicken.
Come on now. They doing something. Because they acting, they cutting up down here. They cutting up down here. They loved her when she changed the state. Yeah. But they don't want her to be the mayor.
And that's one thing that we eventually have to get to as far as, you know, what you were saying, people going against her. Like, you think of any other race, it don't even matter if they don't like that person personally.
Right.
If it comes down to something that's bigger than themselves or money or something, they gonna help each other. You know,
if you are going to vote against her for the things that she has done, not for the person that she is.
Right, and not because somebody paid you to do this too.
You want to put Herschel Walker, a Georgia outstanding football player, into Congress. Are you kidding me? The same man who just came on the air and said he had 2 children that he don't talk about, that he don't even claim. But
see, a man can do that. A man can do that. Whether he's black or white, a man can do that. A man can definitely do that. James Brown was right. He said it's a man's world.
Yes. But what did he say?
But it ain't nothing.
Without a woman,
Uh-huh.
tell the truth now.
Correct. Yes, that's true. That is true.
That's the truth. That's the truth. So if the women are the ones that actually hold the power, which I believe, why are you going to take the right from them to decide how they want to move with their life? That is crazy.
They treat us like slave masters did
Exactly.
them, did us. They do it the same way.
The bad part about it is that it not only affects African American women, it affects Asian women as well. All
to a
women.
certain point.
Well, all women are affected by this, right?
So let me tell you something. I bet even if it was between Hillary Clinton and Michelle Obama, who you think is richer? I mean, I'm just saying, even if it's by 50 cents more, or we always get
right now. I'm going with my sister. I'm going with Michelle.
That's what we will hope, but we know she ain't got nowhere near the dough that Hillary Clinton has.
But I'm going with Michelle because of her character and the fact
Most
that she
definitely
and the fact that two young
but we're talking about fairness on the color.
But she has two young women that are now affected by this same decision. How about that?
Our people are always affected by propaganda.
Two children are affected by the same decision right now.
They turn our men against us and they turn us against each other. That's just how it always is. It goes back to that.
Right. But her children are affected now. Her two girls are affected by this. So now what happens? Her husband was a president. So now what happens? Right?
Right.
Eric.
Yeah, I mean,
what happens now?
Yeah, I just think that this whole situation, I'm like, if you going, because I feel like that's a big right for women, because reproduction happens every day. So like it's almost equivalent to like when women couldn't vote back in the day.
Right. Yes. So it basically boils down to I'm having these kids. So how about you let me decide what I want to do with my kids? How about that? I'm carrying them.
It's always been I'm gonna tell you how you gonna live your life situation.
Exactly. How you gonna tell me how I'm gonna live with these two kids that I'm carrying? These my kids.
Oh, well, I'll tell you how. Kill them or get on welfare. I mean, that's pretty much what your government tell you.
Or put them up for adoption.
Maybe if you can afford. Give it to a white family.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Angelina Jolie, Brad Pitt. I'm just saying, there's so many white privilege that definitely, because we only got one black sister that's a billionaire.
Right.
And that's Oprah. And I don't know if she would want your kid. She already got Gail and everybody else,
locked down. Oprah don't want no kids. She got a whole school down there, African American people. You don't see nothing white but the buildings. Stop playing. That's all you see is the building.
That's over there in Africa. We got starving people right here in the United States. Why y'all celebrities always got to go over there? What about the people here?
We going over there. Exactly. That's my point.
We need water here. Detroit, they need water. Michigan, they need water.
A whole school of African American people. The only thing white is the building and the textbooks.
Tyler Perry, you want some more children?
Tyler ain't getting no children. Tyler he can't even keep up with the child he got. Stop playing.
I mean, I'm just saying we got open a discussion for who want these children, because the African American community is really gonna suffer from this.
It's nobody that's gonna want these kids. Come on.
I'm gonna become a foster mother.
The typical African American family has like 2 to 4 children in their family.
And I'm almost an empty nester, but I'm gonna open up my home to be foster parents.
That's the end of the game right there. When they 4 children in, they're like, please, I gotta feed, clothe these 4 children.
But that's why we gotta think outside of ourselves though, because our community is gonna suffer.
Welfare is only giving you money for 2 these days, from what I understand. So you got 2 more children. What you gonna do? What can you do?
Yeah.
You got to stretch that out. Then you're lucky to find a father, if it's the same father.
Yeah.
You back at ground zero.
But so once again, this is targeting our community. Right.
Now you have to make a decision how you moving.
And also, let me get y'all opinion on this. So I know that the whole abortion thing, that's one thing as far as
Right.
taking people's rights away.
Right.
So what does having sex responsibly play into all this?
It's a big thing because there are contraceptives that help that. I don't know how much I can say, condoms, IUDs, all of that stuff that prevents that. Now, a gentleman being responsibly will make sure that he is protecting his lady. This is how I feel. A woman that's being responsibly, knowing that she may run into a knucklehead guy, should be out there protecting herself. I mean, it's an even swap on that thing. It's an even swap. It's like, okay, I met you today. We may go to the party. We may have a good time. We may have some drinks, and we may wind up doing what we do, adult status. But I'm going to take responsibility for my end. If you don't have it, I have it. And if I don't have it, you should have it.
But
Just
see,
fact.
this still goes back to the 90s. Remember when TLC ain't too proud to bed left out with the condom on her eye? I mean, we just keep going back, and this stuff is
But
just
she
not.
put it out there. But
She
one
did.
thing she did was put it out there. Look, I got it on the eye, boo.
Yes,
So
exactly. So y'all people know,
right.
they
Come
know,
on.
but they just choosing not
Exactly.
to do this.
Exactly. They don't choose to do it, and that's an irresponsible person, because then
That's some reckless sex.
It becomes a child that the daddy say, "Well, I don't want him. I don't know if it's mine."
Or
The mama
exactly.
say, you know what I mean, and the mama say, "Well, you was the only person I slept with," which is probably a lie.
Right.
Okay, it's probably a
Right.
lie. So you didn't bother to ask him. He didn't bother to ask you. So now you got a child of a situation. So what's your next move? What are you going to do? The mother,
Exactly.
being a mother, will say, well, I'm going to put this cat on child support to try to help me take care of this child. But how about now you got to chase him down to even get, you have to get a DNA pretty much to prove to him that he even the father. You know what I mean? So now in the long run, even if he is the father, you're still going to wind up raising this child by yourself.
Exactly. All because you had a choice over your body. You keep talking about the abortion and having choices, but you have a choice over your body. You don't have to sleep with everybody unprotected. You don't have to do that.
Not with everybody you meet and unprotected.
Right. And stop trusting everybody.
That's your choice to say no right there.
Yes. Right. And it don't matter if you drunk in love for a time being or whatever, y'all done spent 3 weeks together. Y'all don't really know each other.
That drunk
in love, still,
it can turn into 18 years.
It can't, of misery.
8 years or better with your child. You understand? That one drunken love can ruin your whole life.
Right. So if you're not going to strap up, you shouldn't use plan B as an alternative, or even abortions, because these things have risk. So you gotta.
I don't mean to be rude, but what is that? Oh, I'm gonna take it out when I'm about to do my little thing. That's
exactly.
You're not you're not doing that. Don't even
even if you do, that little bit might just.
That's enough. That's all it takes. Just a little bit to make it. I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry.
I mean, but people obviously, they do need to hear this, because if you got rights, remember, you can control the members of your own body
and your own destiny. That's correct.
Yeah, you can.
That's correct.
You can do that. You could do that, because condoms like buying a pack of cigarettes now. They're probably about $25. You know what I'm saying? So
and come on, and how many of them really work?
Exactly.
How you know you're not getting a condom with holes in it and you don't even know?
You don't know.
How would you know? I think the responsibility for that action is on both parties. That's how I feel. It's on both parties.
Yeah.
It's on both parties.
Both parties.
The thing is that most people think that the woman's mind is a little the male's mind. And that woman is always going to be at fault for having this child.
Right.
That's how the world is and how they see us. That's it.
But men need to step up to the plate too, especially my Black men, my Black godly men. Y'all need to step up to the plate too and do the right thing. Get y'all some mentors. Take some of these young men under your wings and
You
teach
know why it's
them.
not going to happen like that, Erica? It's not going to happen like that because we as women make it too easy to get to us.
Yeah,
We make it too
yeah,
easy for them to get to us. They spend
right.
$1 or $2. We think we in hog heaven. We think they deserve the goodies. Let's
No,
be real, and we do. We think they
yeah,
spend $100 or $2 on us on some drinks that we already anticipating that we know the payoff is us.
right. And even if you got, because I know some of my high class females, even if you get the Louis Vuitton bags, the red bottoms, all of that, just make sure he's still strapped up. You're protected. Your kitty cat is in good lockdown. Okay,
That's
really good. Even if
just
he
like
getting
that.
you material things,
Right.
seriously, because
Like that.
your health, it's more than AIDS, and it's HPV out here causing cancers. It's hepatitis. It's herpes.
Mhm.
It's so many other things that your girl can get.
Oh yeah, your girl can get a lot. And
Yes.
I think that it goes back to the mothers training
Mm-hmm.
girls.
Yeah. Yeah.
So so how can you tell your daughter what she doing and you as a whole yourself?
Well, hopefully,
I'm just gonna put it out there.
hopefully you retired your hoe shoes and you can tell her, look, I done turned
Right.
into a housewife.
Right. And then your child come back and say, well, mama, you got 12 children. And
Yeah.
they have 4 different daddies.
Yes.
So now you
True.
tell me that what I'm doing is wrong. I'm following your lead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this is
But
what's going on with you.
but you still got the right to know that if your mama ain't all the time your example, women, you need to step up to the plate too, just like men, and take these people under. Listen, my mom died when I was 16. I thank God every day for my Aunt Shauna that came and helped me. And I was I was 18 when I had my first daughter.
Right.
Okay. But I wasn't on welfare. I didn't live in a project, anything like that. But I did struggle. And it don't matter. Here it is 20 years later. I'm married and all that, but it still don't erase my past. That follows you.
I'm going to go on record on this podcast as saying that Erica Jones Gross, you actually have beat the system with your husband. You
Yeah.
have a good one because he is my definition of a true man. And
Yeah.
that because he accepted your oldest daughter and had you guys are just a family. And I think that's
Right.
a thing.
Right. But if we have more guys and more women that say, well, you know what? I done already made a mistake. You can't, I got a child, but you can't be in the child life. You can't even see the child until I know where we going. And that don't mean sex. That means like where we going, what direction. Am I going to be a husband? Am I going to be a wife? You got that right to determine that, because everybody you meet is not going to be for you.
And I need to know if I'm going to be the toy, the side
right, exactly. Yes.
I need to know toy.
Right. Yes. And if I am the toy, I need to accept the fact that I'm a toy. I can't make myself no more than what you told me I was. That's because women like to do that. They like to build a man.
Exactly. I can't build this mountain out of nothing when I don't have nothing to work with.
Yeah, exactly.
I got to have something to work with, and that's true.
Right. So, nephew, I hope that answered just a little smidget of what you were saying.
Yeah. So
sorry, I apologize, nephew.
So what tips would y'all give to future moms or women in general that's gonna have to go through this new law and things like that?
Oh wow. Go ahead, Nettie.
I don't know. I'm gonna speak from the heart of God, because I am a minister, first. And listen, he changed me. So I say that anything that you went through or going through, whether it was rape or whatever, you might feel like, the laws is giving you a choice not to do what you want to do with your body. And maybe you might go to another state. I don't know what your position is, but I know that nothing's not too hard for God. I will say that. He a way maker, a promise keeper. He beat all odds for you if you trust him. So this not the end of the world just because, these new laws have taking place. You know what I'm saying? I know that he's put something in position for everybody. So it's not, all hope is not lost. Okay. But since you do have the ability to take control over your sex life, how much, you know, how you gonna live, start with that. Make sure that since I know these laws, I gotta move different now, because this might be the very thing that looked like it's meant for evil might be for your good. Especially as a woman, we can think different now, put our bodies in a better position than it was before. Okay, that's how I look at it.
Well, I think my suggestion would be to these women that's about to deal with it. First of all, I'm with you, Nay. You got to be with God. You must believe.
You do.
You need that faith.
Only way.
Faith, because faith without work is dead.
Mm-hmm.
And most of all, I need these young women, elder women, whoever's going to get caught in this. You have got to believe and know your worth to yourself.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. You must understand your worth, because in reality, when it all boils down to it, you are bringing a life into the world. That's you. The gentleman is providing his part, but you are the caregiver for 9 months of another. So you must believe in yourself, and you must know your worth. And once you are with God and you know your worth, then you will be able to, God will give you the vision to be able to see the vision that you need to see about the person that you're putting in your life and their intentions. And I believe that. I believe that.
Just I agree with you on that.
Stay on God, know your worth, and just, you know, I don't even know how to say it. Just know your worth. When you know your worth, you know who's for you and who's against you, and who doesn't do any good. And as long as you follow that and you stay in God's path, you're good to go. Now, I'm going to say that's going to be the out all the time, and you probably still will get caught up. But being a strong Black woman, moving the way that you know you need to move, if you get caught up, you're still going to be okay.
You are. You got to believe that. Hey, go to the church, hold the church accountable. We preach and teach this word, but this is the time for us to live by it. So, you know, go to your church. Go to the men and women. Find some people on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? Because rejection is real. Sometimes we just need help.
That's true.
Hold the body of Christ accountable.
And find that woman in your family.
Yes.
That you respect to the most.
Right.
The most respect for the elder, the leader, the matriarch.
Yeah. Right.
And go to her, because 9 times out of 10, she's not going to lead you wrong, because she has dealt with the situation herself.
Exactly.
She'll tell you the best way to handle that. She's going to give you the knowledge. Now it's up to you to use the knowledge.
Right.
But she give it to you. Point blank. Right. If she got a big mom, like you said, point blank.
Yes. Go to Big Mom. Go to Big Mom. Little Mom. We had some big mamas and some little mamas and some Aunt Shauna's.
Right.
Shout out to my Aunt Shauna, Dr. Shauna Acker. She was like my mom.
They're gonna tell you what it is. Just move.
They are.
Move in faith and believe in yourself. And there's nothing that can defeat you as long as you move like that. You'll be fine.
Right. And some people would say it's easier said than done, but we're products of it. You know what I'm saying? So
said than done. If you believe that you work 40 hours a week and you're going to get a check at the end of the week, you can believe that God is going to make a way for everything to be okay.
Exactly. And he will. He not a liar. He will. Right. He will do what he said he's going to do. But he didn't say it was going to be easy. He just said he can make the impossible possible.
He always says, what does he say? I will help you as long as if you give an inch, I'll give a yard. I will, as long as you put it out, as long as you try, I'm going to help you through it. Now, we didn't say it was going to be an easy trip, but I'm going to be there to help you through it.
Yes, he will. He'll give you people.
Right. As long as you know how to come to me and ask me for what you want and you put forth that work, I'm going to put forth my part.
Yep.
And it's really that.
It
really
is.
is
Right.
that.
And you'll give us once again a healthy Black community, like where we came from. A
That's
healthy
right.
Black community.
That's right. That's right. That's correct. And I need these elders not to throw criticism on these young sisters because they move
They
in
better not.
differently than you are. Well, you already know what's going on. They moving
Yeah.
differently than you. And instead of you going to them, you want to go talk to everybody in the family about what they're doing. Go talk to them.
Yeah.
Go talk to them.
Right.
Lead by example, but make sure you have an example for them to be given.
Yeah.
Go out here and have 12 children and ridicule your child because she got one that she may not know who the daddy is, or she may got caught in a situation. You got 12. So what happened there?
Right. And
You know?
made it. So help
Yeah.
her make it with one.
And you help her make it with her one.
Right. Come on, Black women, Black men. This is
That's
a call for our people on the Eric the Great podcast. This is a call for our people.
You're right. The aunties came into the show. Had some fun with our nephew tonight, and I want to thank him for allowing me to be on his show this evening.
Most definitely.
And thank you so much. You know, a lot of things that were said today helped me with my situation of being adopted and finding my family. So I definitely appreciate that. Made the load a little lighter for me, which was good. I needed that.
And I can say this, having an adopted sister, you know, the selfish part, you know, of course, is like, oh, all mine. But the part that, you know, that Christ came for is for me not to be selfish and share, you know, my sister and share the fact that, you know, how she blessed my life from growing up. You know what I'm saying? So it's been beautiful, but at the same time, yeah, it's been a painful journey too, because you have to, you know, you have to hear, you have to adapt to you not being the only one to know her. You know, so that's why you gotta, once again, I got God, you know, I have to tear down jealousy and all those human emotions that come along with having multiple families, you know. So if anybody is going through that, I'm gonna tell you from the person being on the outside looking in, just be a listening ear. And everything you hear, it might hurt you, but trust and believe they hurting way more than you. So I have to tear down selfishness and just be an ear to listen for my sister and for my brother. You know what I'm saying? So it's a blessing. You know what I'm saying? So if you love the Lord, then be an ear for your family, because everybody get tested.
Amen. That's true.
Right. And my sister's soft, and she always crying. My words bring her to tears.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So before we get into final words, I know Aunt Pam is an author, so explain to some of the people what made you decide to go on the journey to become an author first off, and just explain just list the books that you have out right now and where you can get them.
I think I wrote this book because of no closure, to be honest. Knowing that I was adopted and dealing with someone that took my daughter's life took me through a lot of things. And I was actually in the military when this happened. And emotionally, I did not think that my family understood exactly what I was going through it on that side. And on the other side, I knew I had a biological family that I kind of felt like I needed to reach out to get to know them, to see if I could get that closure on that side. I don't really know. I guess that's the best way to say that. I just didn't have any peace. I didn't have any closure, and I didn't feel worthy of being anywhere at that particular time. So I decided to write the book, Don't Cry for Me, to help the next person that may have been going through things like that. Now, don't get me wrong. The Jones family is my family. I'm a Jones, true blue Jones, just not by blood. And they were there for me. But with having the senior people in the family, it's always a little fault that it could have been my fault or could have been avoided or whatever. So it took me to a different side. It caused me to stray away from my family, to go into the military, to get away from my family. I'm just going to be honest. Now, and in all this time, I knew I was adopted, but I had no means of finding my biological family to try to see if I could get closure there. So it just was a whole lot going on. So I wrote this book to help others that are undecided about their self, or felt negative about their self, or felt like the family wasn't as supportive as they could be. And that's pretty much it. It tells you about my struggle in the military, and how I came home, and how I got out, became a CO, and wound up at the same prison that the person that killed my daughter was at. And just the fight of trying to come back to me and trying to find God. And that is my first book. My second book is entitled Mother Courage, and it is being written as we speak now. It is not out yet. So that book is about me going into God and accepting certain things in my life that I can't change, and just talking about the minister who I grew up with. We were his first kids in his church, and now he's a bishop. And how he took his time when my father really didn't have the time to spend with us, how he stepped in as a father and taught us about God and got us involved with activities, and how we used to go to him for the things that we should go to our parents to. And it tells you about my church life now, and my pastor, and certain things that just happened in my life now. And of course, this adoption thing will probably be a part of this book, because now I have a biological family. My mother, dementia and Alzheimer's. So I will never have the answers that I actually need to make me whole. So that's pretty much what it's about. That's it. Don't Cry for Me. You can find that book on lulapublishing.com. You can also join me on Facebook. I have a Facebook page.
Don't Cry for Me.
I have a humanitarian page. I won a few awards for the things that I do now. And I just thank God that I'm okay and actually sane these days.
Right.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know that whole thing is real emotional, as far as like, having go through the mental struggle of dealing with a family that physically raised you, and then your biological family, going down that path to find them, and things like that. And it's probably millions of people out there that's going through the same thing that you went through now. They just probably either came across their biological family either earlier, or they haven't come across their biological family at all. Some people don't.
Right.
So
It is a difficult ride. It took me 59 years to find my family, to be neglected by my biological sister as we speak today. To be honest with you, she is not accepting me at all. Told me that I was sold, all of this. So it's still a struggle, but it will. If God took me today, I would be very happy, because I have found my family. I have been loved by my adopted family, and I'm good. I'm complete, and I'm good right now. And y'all got to excuse me, because I am a baby. I cry quite a bit.
Right.
I'm not even going to lie about it. I cry quite a bit. But if he was to come and say, well, Pam, it's time to go, there's nothing I can say, because I truly believe that I have done everything that I kind of wanted to do in my life right now. I would be pleased. And I think that he would be pleased. Yes, I can say that.
did you guys have any final words about what we talk about today? I know whoever watches this episode be a very powerful, inspirational episode for all women and people in general that either was adopted or went through similar struggles.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, you didn't ask me what I do.
Oh, yeah, man.
Gotta
Oh,
get the baby sister in there now. You can't do the aunties like that.
oh, yeah.
Right.
Give us both our little
I know I
props.
just probably
yeah.
look like I just do this all day, but I really don't.
Yeah. You could promote anything you got going on.
Right. Well, I am a traveling minister, myself and my husband. I go all around the world marrying people. Yes, a woman minister. I get that all the time. You gonna marry me? I'm gonna marry your daughter and your son. Yeah. So, yes. Also, I do deliverance as well. Cast out demons. Yeah, I love doing that. Also, I have an online ministry as well, Kingdom Talk with the Prophets. Yay. I also have a marriage ministry called Marriage Notes. And I'm just anointed. Okay. I got 2 daughters that's married as
You
well.
putting all your stuff out there. Can I put my organization out there? Can I do that?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So I have a ministry as well. I am ordained, but I am not ordained for the pulpit. I use my ministry in the street, taking care of the homeless. I have 2 foundations now, the Heaven and Earth Foundation and Shower Blessings. So we feed. We have fed for several years, and now we have elevated to the next level of giving showers to the homeless. So that is what I am doing as being a former homeless person myself. I do understand everything that entails, and I have experienced the fact of not being able to shower several times myself. So I promise God that if he could get everything straight with me and I could get myself together, that I would give back. And this is the way that I choose to give back. So that's pretty much what I'm doing right now. And I may be in your city at any time with my showers.
Okay, bring the showers on. We need them in everybody's city.
I'm telling you now.
Shower cities for everybody. Okay, can I finish now?
Yeah.
No, you should be done.
Dang. Also, I do outreach as well. I come to other cities as well to do a lot of things for other organizations. Hopefully I'll hook up with my sister at some point and feed some people and yes, and do some amazing things as well. And what inspired me, what made me accept my call was after my mom died in 98, the enemy told me that I was not going to make it. And I started to believe this. So I started selling drugs. And also I thought I was going to be a madam. So what happened was, yeah. And so, God sent someone to me, some women of God, came and prayed for me, prophesied, spoke over my life, confirmed my calling. And then it was like, okay, I still wanted to smoke and do what I wanted to do. But listen, when it's your time to come out, you come out. And I've been out ever since. And I've probably been in ministry now for about 8 to 10 years. Living right, the right way, a holy way. Okay, right.
All right. Put it out there, little sis. Put it out there.
All right. You got to.
So in case you guys don't know, I will say that being the eldest Jones child and being on here with the youngest Jones child,
right?
We apparently you could probably see that even though we may have had our trials and tribulations with both
I can't remember one. It's like, no, I'm just playing.
Even though we've had our trials and tribulations with both of our lives in different ways, it is known throughout anyone that knows us that we were raised by some powerful Black female sisters.
Yeah.
Our great grandmother left here, she was 105. Our mother left, she was 58. So I think I beat her by a year. But during that time, it is apparent that the Jones women are about their business, powerful, strong, spiritual, and very faithful to what we believe. And so I guess my message to all these women would be, look, don't let anyone throw you off of your stone, off of your rock, off of your throne, however you want to say that. You hold the power to be who you need to be and who you want to be. And that is your move, how you play this chess game with this thing about these children and about your right for adoption. If you have an opportunity, if it ever comes up where you have a right to stand for that, then go out there and stand for your right. Do that. Do that. Don't let them defeat this. Don't let them do that.
And I would say, of course, I'm not for the abortion, but I am for the adoptions and using contraceptives, anything but abortion of taking life. But listen, that part doesn't matter. What you need to really know is that Jesus loves you regardless, okay? And it's always a way out. He makes a way out of no way. That's who he is. That's who he's been before the world was even framed. So it's no reason to feel discouraged or feel like you can't make it, because you can. And you can just say a simple prayer to ask him to bring somebody in your life. That's what happened to me. Somebody came into my life and it saved my life, in spite of what the enemy was trying to tell me. So I know that God can build you a team, an army of people that might not agree with everything you do, but will support you until your thought patterns and everything line up to be right. Okay. So whatever you choose, God can still work a miracle. He can work it right now. Even he might be working a miracle out for you right now. Okay.
And please believe that, because I stand as one of those people that is a part of that life.
Right. And I stand as one of those people that could have been aborted, but she said, no, I'm going to keep this one. Hallelujah. She kept me.
Right.
She kept me. So,
Eric J, thank you, baby, for hanging out with your aunties. We hope we didn't.
Most definitely.
Hopefully we gave you a good podcast, but.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be one of my most powerful episodes.
But hold on, I gotta say something. any female that think they're gonna get to my nephew, they're gonna have to go through an interview with me, since all this pro-life and all this stuff. So y'all gonna have to interview with me. I'm Erica. You can find me on Facebook. Okay. Right, because we got to interview you, sister. We got to make sure you fit to be the Jones.
We don't let everybody in the family. That's a hard battle. You better ask these ex-Joneses. They'll let you know.
Okay, right. Okay, nephew. Back to you.
Well, thank you. To his own show. That's really nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna post this tomorrow at 12 o'clock. Because I usually drop every Monday, but this was kind of like a emergency podcast. I do something out of the routine because I wanted to talk about this and let people hear different perspectives on from different women on how they felt about it.
Right. I think you did your thing. I appreciate you even, just stepping up to the plate and wanting to hear the voice of women, not just women, those strong women, strong Black women, because a lot of times they don't want to hear a message strong like this, so that's what's up.
I've been around a lot of men all day today, VA, on the block, everywhere. And I have not heard any man address this situation right here. I have not heard that. I've been on Facebook looking for that. I still haven't heard any men address this. So to you, nephew, you are a hell of a man, and I appreciate it. I really do.
He breaking generational curses out this thing.
Baby, he breaking generational curses out this thing. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I commend you on that.
Yeah, I really commend him, his mama, and his daddy. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Got to commend the parents. That's true.
Yep, most definitely. But the women still gonna come through me.
Little Aunt Nay, relax on that thing. Let that man be a man.
No, because they coming. I just keep seeing them coming.
Oh, they coming. They gonna come, but he got that. He know what he doing.
Interview through me.
Nah,
I got you, nephew.
Don't listen to that.
She gonna want to know, nephew. She a Jones. She knows it. She gonna want to know too. Nephew, don't trust it.
Oh yeah, I already drilled the rest of the Joneses. Are you kidding me?
All right, y'all. Well, I guess we're gonna wrap it up.
Yeah,
Can you wrap his own show up?
Yeah,
yeah.
he is.
Well, thank you, man.
Yeah, this concludes another episode of the Eric J. the Great podcast. Shout out to Anchor for sponsoring my podcast. And this episode be out tomorrow by noon tomorrow on YouTube and all other streaming platforms, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, any podcast platform out there, it'd be on there.
All right. Well, thank you for having me, nephew. I appreciate that.
No problem. Y'all can come on anytime. Y'all
Oh, the aunties can come on
I'm
anytime.
gonna turn up. Well, hold on. First, I gotta get my rap together.
Stop playing that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Thank you, nephew.